Good morning, everybody, or actually afternoon for you. We are in 1 Kings 20, roughly page 375 in the scriptures. This is the scriptures, www.isr-messianic.org if you want this translation, or you can find it at grindstoneministries.com. We are coming on the heels of our discussion of Elijah and his interaction with Ahab and Jezebel and the 450 prophets of Baal and the 400 prophets of the Ashtaroth, or giant wooden carved penis things. From last week, if you haven't seen that or read that, I recommend that you go watch that. But now we're going to read 1 Kings chapter 20. And Ben-Hadad, the king of Aram, Aramaeans, Arami, where Abraham was from. Our father was a wandering Arami. Yeah. And Ben-Hadad, the king of Aram, gathered all of his army, and there were 32 kings with him, and horses and chariots, and he went up and besieged Shomeron and fought against it. Remember, Shomeron is this wicked city that was built by Ahab. Not the city where Yahweh or Elohim put his name, which is Yerushalayim or Jerusalem. Shomeron is where Ahab, this king who was completely outside the lines of what Yah had proposed for man, commanded for man. In fact, he was the worst of the worst, as we've read previously. Shomeron is where Ahab put his name. So Ben-Hadad goes up against it, besieges Shomeron, and fought against it. And he sent messengers into the city to Ahab, king of Israel, and said to him, "Thus said Ben-Hadad, your silver and your gold are mine, and your wives and your children, the best, are mine." And the king of Israel answered and said, "As you say, my master, O king, I am yours and all that I have." What a wussy. Somebody comes to your house and says, "Hey, by the way, all your riches, all your wealth, your children and your wife, they're mine." And you answer them, "Sounds good, sure, whatever you need." And the messengers came back and said, "Thus speaks Ben-Hadad, saying, Indeed, I have sent to you, saying, Give me your silver and your gold, your wives and your children. But about this time tomorrow I shall send my servants to you, and they shall search your house and the houses of your servants. And it shall be that whatever is pleasing in your eyes they shall lay hold of and take it." So not just your house, your gold, your silver, your wives, your children, now everybody. Round 2. And the king of Israel called all the elders of the land and said, "Please know and see the evil this one is seeking. For he sent to me for my wives and for my children and for my silver and for my gold, and I did not refuse him, because you're a wussy." And all the elders and all the people said to him, "Do not listen nor agree." Sounds bad, bro. No. Maybe you want to give him your wives, your children, your gold, your silver, but you're not giving him our wives, our children, our gold, our silver. Negative. "Do not listen nor agree." So he said, he being, what's his name? Ahab. So Ahab said to the messengers of Ben-Hadad, "Say to my master the king," and interesting, that isn't our master, Yeshua HaMashiach, and Yahweh our Elohim, not for Ahab. "Say to my master the king, all that you have sent for to your servant the first time I shall do, but this I am unable to do." You can have all of my stuff and my people. You can't have all of my people's stuff and people. And the messengers went back and brought word to him, to Ben-Hadad. And Ben-Hadad sent to him and said, "The mighty ones do so to me, and more also, if enough dust is left of Shomeron for a handful of each of the people who follow me." So he's basically saying, hey, these false gods destroy me if I don't have, I'm going to lay waste to your city. And if there's enough dust of your city left for each one of my people to grab a handful, that'll be too much. That's how much I'm going to utterly destroy you. And the king of Israel, Ahab, answered and said, "Speak. Him who girds on his armor should not boast like him who lays it down." So now he's provoking him. Don't act like a tough guy unless you can be a tough guy. And it came to be when this word was heard, as he and the sovereigns were drinking in their booths, this is Ben-Hadad and the 32 kings that he had with him, 32 princes, set yourselves. So they set themselves against the city. So now they're attacking Shomeron. And see, a prophet came near to Ahab, king of Israel, saying, Thus said Yahweh, have you seen all this great company? See, I'm giving it into your hand today, and you shall know that I am Yahweh. Now remember, Ahab doesn't give one flip about Yahweh, okay? He doesn't care. However, Yah, because Ahab is king of Israel, is still trying to make a way for his people. It says, so here's the deal. You see all these people arrayed against you who are coming here to bring violence upon you? I will give all of these people into your hand. And Ahab said, by whom? Like, how's this going to go down? And he said, the prophet said, Thus said Yahweh, by the young rulers of the provinces. And he said, who opens the attack? And then he, the prophet, answered, you, Ahab, the wussy, you open the attack. And he, Ahab, mustered the young rulers of the provinces, and there were 232. And after them he mustered all the people, all the children of Israel, 7,000. This is not some robust number. Remember, there were 603,550 military-aged males that left Mitzrayim, that left Egypt under the headship of Moshe. Now we're down to 7,000. Not so great. And they went out at noon while Ben-Hadad and the 32 princes, kings with him, helping him, were getting drunk in booths. And the young rulers of the provinces, these being of Israel, went out first. And Ben-Hadad sent out, and they reported to him, saying, Men have come out of Shomeron, these 232 that Ahab mustered. Then he, Ben-Hadad, said, If they have come out for peace, seize them alive. And if they have come out for battle, seize them alive. Much easier to get intel from somebody who still has a pulse than from somebody who doesn't. So these young rulers of the provinces went out of the city with the army which followed them, the 232 and then the 7,000. And each struck his man, so that the Arameans, Ben-Hadad, and his people fled, and Israel pursued them. Now that's interesting. Each struck his man. This was a coordinated attack. They each had a target. You get this guy. I'll get this guy. Hey, you get this guy, okay? Right? If you attack the shepherd, then the sheep will scatter, right? And each struck his man, so the Arameans fled, and Israel pursued them. And Ben-Hadad, the king of Aram, escaped on a horse with the horsemen. And the king of Israel, Ahab, went out and struck the horses and chariots, and struck the Arameans a great smiting. And the prophet came to the king of Israel and said to him, Go, strengthen yourself, and know and see what you should do, for at the turn of the year the king of Aram is coming up against you. Go, get him, because when the year changes, he's going to come back against you again. Kill him now while you can. And the servants of the king of Aram, Ben-Hadad said to him, The mighty ones, their mighty ones, are mighty ones of the hills. That is why they were stronger than we. But let us fight against them in the plain. Are we not stronger than they? In essence, they're saying, hey, we fought them on their home turf. They are hill people, and their gods are hill people gods. If we go fight them on the plains, then their gods... You see the just the absolute paganism in this? Just complete lack of understanding. Their gods are gods of the hills. They won't be with them out there on the plains. We'll fight them on the plains. Bad counsel. Are we not stronger than they? Now do this. Take away the kings, each from his possession, and put officers in their place. Now remember these 32 kings that Ben-Hadad had working for him? Maybe not the best idea. Let's put some people, some actual military prowess in their place. And number an army like the army that you have lost, horse for horse and chariot for chariot, and let us fight against them in the plain. Are we not stronger than they? And he, Ben-Hadad, listened to their voice and did so. And it came to be, at the turn of the year, that Ben-Hadad mustered the Arameans and went up to Aphek to fight against Israel. Almost like the prophet of Yah knew what he was talking about. And the children of Israel were mustered and were fed, and they went against them. And the children of Israel encamped before them like 2 little flocks of goats, while the Arameans filled the land. So a very small number of Israelites now fighting against the Arameans. And there came near a man of Elohim, and spoke to the king of Israel, and said, Thus said Yahweh, because the Arameans have said, Yahweh is Elohim of the hills, but he is not Elohim of the valleys. Therefore I shall give all this great company into your hands, and you shall know that I am Yahweh. And you, Ahab, shall know that I am Yahweh. So we're going to show them, Yahweh is going to show them that he is Lord over all things, not just the hills, the plains, all of it. He made all of it, the creator of the heavens and the earth. And they encamped opposite each other for 7 days. And it came to be on the 7th day that battle was joined. And the children of Israel struck 100,000 foot soldiers of the Arameans in 1 day. 7,000 versus 100,000. And the children of Israel struck 100,000 foot soldiers of the Arameans in 1 day. And those that were left fled to Aphek into the city. And a wall fell on 27,000 of the men who were left. And Ben-Hadad fled and went into the city into an inner room. And his servants said to him, See now, we have heard that the kings of the house of Israel are lovingly committed kings, these being the 232 that were raised up under Ahab. Please let us put sackcloth around our waists and ropes around our heads and go out to the king of Israel. It could be that he spares your life. If we humble ourselves and we go ask Ahab for mercy, maybe he will let us live. So they girded sackcloth on their loins and put ropes around their heads and came to the king of Israel and said, Your servant Ben-Hadad has said this. Now remember, earlier in here, Ahab refers to Ben-Hadad as his master, right? Now, Ben-Hadad is referring to himself as the servant of Ahab. Your servant Ben-Hadad has said, So the tables have turned. Please let me live. And he, Ahab, said, Is he still alive? He is my brother. And the men divined, and they quickly grasped it and said, Your brother Ben-Hadad. And he said, Go, bring him. So Ben-Hadad came out to him, and he let him come up on the chariot. Ahab let him come up on the chariot. And Ben-Hadad said to him, to Ahab, The cities which my father took from your father I return, and set up marketplaces for yourself in Damascus, as my father did in Shomeron. Hey, let's reestablish trade. I'll give you your territories back. Things will be cool, bro. And Ahab said, I send you away with this covenant. Sounds good, bro. Handshake, pinky swear. And he made a covenant with him and sent him on his way. Was that what he was supposed to do? No, didn't the prophet of Yah say, Go kill him? He didn't say, yeah, why don't you guys reestablish some trade routes, set up some markets, get your cities back. No, go kill him. And a certain man of the sons of the prophets said to his neighbor by the word of Yahweh, Strike me, please. But the man refused to strike him. Then he said to him, Because you have not obeyed the voice of Yahweh, see, as soon as you leave me, a lion shall strike you. And when he left him, a lion found him and struck him, because he didn't do the word of Yah. Takes some cajones on the part of the son of the prophet as well to say, hey, would you go ahead and smack me with your sword real quick? Yah said so. Now imagine being on the receiving end of that. You're like, no, I don't think I'm going to do that. Like, if you don't, a lion's going to eat you. Okay, yeah, whatever, dude. I'm not going to slice you open with my sword. Okay. Dude goes on his way. Rah! Lion comes out of the woods or wherever lions come from and eats him. Kind of a damned if you do, damned if you don't kind of thing, right? But anyway, clearly this dude was supposed to get smited with a sword. Then the prophet went and waited for the king. Oh, I'm sorry. And he, the son of the prophet, found another man and said, strike me, please. So the man struck him, striking and wounding. He probably saw what happened to the first guy who became lion food and was like, okay, yeah, lesser of two evils. Yeah, I'll hit you with a sword. Sounds good. I don't want to be lion poo. Then the prophet, who was struck with the sword, went and waited for the king by the way and disguised himself with a bandage on his eyes. So as the king passed by, he cried out to the king and said, this being Ahab, your servant went out into the midst of the battle, and see, a man came over and brought a man to me and said, guard this man. If he should in any way be missing, your life shall be for his life, or else you shall pay a talent of silver. So he's passing himself off as one wounded in battle, lying by the roadside as the king comes by. And it came to be, While your servant was busy here and there, he was gone. And the king of Israel said to him, your judgment is right. You yourself have decided it. Ah, see, the king now has passed judgment on himself because of the ruse that this son of the prophets has pulled on him. Then he quickly removed the bandage from his eyes, and the king of Israel recognized him as one of the prophets. And he, the prophet, said to him, thus said Yahweh, because you have let slip out of your hand a man whom I put under the ban, meaning kill him, therefore your life shall go for his life, and your people for his people. And the king of Israel went to his house embittered and displeased, and came to Shomeron. We're going to leave it there for today. I mean, takeaways here. Do what Yah tells you to do. Don't be a wussy when somebody shows up at your doorstep and says, hey, I'm here for your wife, your kids, your gold, and your silver. Don't say, okay, sounds good, because you know what happens the next day? Hey, I'm here for all your people's wives and children and their gold and their silver. Negative. And this is a strategy as old as time. Destroy your enemy completely. It's even onboarded in the secular world. I mean, Sun Tzu talks about it, the art of war, but also you find it in books like the 48 Laws of Power by Robert Greene. Destroy your enemy completely. If you let them live to fight another day, they will come back at the turn of the year and destroy you. And look at the provision and blessing of Yah, that 7,000 men take out 100,000 foot soldiers in one battle. In one battle. And yet and still we're like, I don't know, maybe we'll just make peace with them. No, Yah, the same one who delivered you from this attacking force, said put them under the ban. And you're like, no, we could just be friends. See, they weren't interested in doing what Yah said. They wanted his provision and blessing. They didn't have the obedience to earn his provision and blessing. What a concept. I appreciate y'all. Have a blessed day. Shalom.